we get here? How did we get here? What in the Alice in Wonderland nightmares is going on right now? All I can say is how fucking dare you? If you voted for that man, if you voted for anybody other than Kamala and you live in one of the states that it was, close, or if you didn't vote, fuck you.
The best is yet to come.
I chose family. I chose women. I chose America. I love you.
How the fuck is this still happening? All I've ever known politically is hatred.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
The biggest red wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
I can't help but wonder if the American people have given up on democracy.
I hear what you're saying, and I do see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight.
If she were a 6'4" white man from Arkansas or from, Florida, do you think she would be losing by that much?
I think that we've got to be honest. Among Hispanic men and black men, there's a lot of misogyny.
There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to, and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple months.
It's not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy.
There's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men.
And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy.
Things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States.
To all the pollsters, the election pollsters, blow me. I don't ever want to from you again, ever.
People who said that he was a Hitler lover weren't Democrats, they were Republicans. People who said that he was a fascist weren't Democrats, they were Republicans who worked for him.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage IDOT of the 199. Bennis says, intro is too long. Jesus. Well, then, I guess, okay, you did it. Chat, you can't blame me. You can't blame me.
Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Goodbye, everybody, I've got to go, gotta leave you all behind and face the truth. Mama, sometimes wish I've never been born at all. I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, when you do the fun, done go. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, 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 Magnifico. I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from his monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go? Build a wall, no, we will not let you go. Build a wall, we will not let you go. Build a wall, we will not let you go. Let me go, will not let you go. Let me go, will not let you go. Let me go. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Be as gentle as the devil would decide for me, for me, for me. So you think you can stone me and save my life? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby, can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get out, just gotta get right around here.
What's going on, everyone? or there was another comment. Somebody said, thanks for the long intro. I had to finish watching another video. I can't find it now. Anyway, hello, everyone. Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage IDOT of the 199. Aaron James says, Jessica, recover quickly. Chat needs and loves you. What's going on with Jessica? Is she not feeling good? Jessica, are you not feeling good? Hope you're doing okay. Let me know. Eric Guidewall 450 says, in honor of our veterans, I want to send this super chat. Respect to all of those that have given the ultimate sacrifice. As a matter of fact, what is like one thing, I love patriotic songs, and there's a lot of like country music songs that are patriotic. One that I just think is completely underrated is Billy Ray Cyrus, Some Gave All. If you like, what a great song that is. If you've never heard that one, you should absolutely look it up. Some Gave All from Billy Ray Cyrus. Amazing song. Arlington from Trace Atkins is fantastic. You know, there's so many. What was that one song by John Michael Montgomery? Letters from Home, I think, from John Michael Montgomery. Yeah, that one's really good. That one's a really good one. Obviously, Toby Keith. Toby Keith has many. R.I.P. to the great Toby Keith. You know, there's just so many good country songs out there, though. Achy Breaky Heart is way more patriotic. Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. So a lot of you were not around in the Billy Ray Cyrus heyday when Achy Breaky Heart was like everywhere. And I can't express my hatred for that song enough. And it was literally everywhere. And my grandmother was obsessed with Achy Breaky Heart. Every time we'd go to the house, she's just playing it on repeat. And me and my cousins were like, I I can't say what we said we wanted to do, but I think you can put 2 and 2 together. Every time we're hearing this, we're like, I just want to not be here. It's like every fucking day we go to grandmother's house and it's like Achy Breaky Heart is playing. She's talking about how handsome Billy Ray Cyrus is. And we're like, shut the fuck up. Seriously, woman. But you know, it's, it was, good Lord, man. What an annoying ass song. It was somebody said it in the chat, torture. It was truly torture. CG says, all hail the 199. Love these intros. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jeremy Winfield says that intro is fire. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah if you don't like it. Let's go. Lying Dog Face Pony Soldier with a gifted membership. Thank you. Bedlam says, who is your pick to lead G.I. Joe? Duke, Flint, Beachhead. Let's see. Duke, Flint, Beachhead, or Sergeant Slaughter? I mean, to me, obviously, you know, General Hawk is the guy that leads, but like for me, like the leader of G.I. Joe symbolically has always been Duke. Always. That's how I always perceived it. Duke was always the guy. He was the true leader and the true symbol of leadership within G.I. Joe. Flint was great as well. Beachhead is awesome. Sergeant Slaughter was kind of like the biggest icon, you know, especially when, you know, you had Sergeant Slaughter in WWF, who became WWF champion, and then they kind of turned him bad. But Sergeant Slaughter, I never perceived Sergeant Slaughter as a leader as much as just the toughest dude out there, you know, but I always had Duke as perceived to be the leader. Vault 95 says, your long intros are shorter than Tim's ad reads. Does he do ad reads now? I know he does, like, he promotes his own stuff. Shadow Saiyan says cereal equals soup. So I saw that debate with, I saw that video with Veridark and Ryan about that. And no, cereal is not soup. And one of the weird things is me and Ryan don't agree on a lot, but it's weird because he and I are like one of the, look, we're some of the only people you will find that don't eat cereal with milk in the bowl. I eat cereal dry and then drink milk afterwards. And that's how Ryan eats it as well. And we're like the only 2 people that do that. Which makes us fucking weird. So yeah, so most people are just like, you guys are absolutely crazy. Let's see. CG says Sabaton did a great song called, is it Versailles, all about the end of World War II, among so many other paying tribute to the military. I don't know, like I know we do the outro for Sabaton. I've listened to some of their stuff before, but I haven't listened to a ton of their stuff, but that one song that we play is awesome. Jeremy the Cyborg says Billy Ray Sirius stole Achy Breaky Heart from the Marcy Brothers. I know you didn't like his, did you mean to say Sirius? Billy Ray Sirius? I mean, I never thought Billy Ray Cyrus was an actual good musician, but he does have a couple of really good songs. Let's see. Wrestler Town says Achy Breaky Heart was in malls, fancy restaurants, elevators, hospitals, churches, dark days. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. A lot of people say like Garth Brooks took country music mainstream, but like, and I was a big Garth Brooks fan back in the day. I think Garth Brooks is completely cucked now, but I do love his music from back, like No Fences, Rope in the Wind. Those were great albums. But these days, I mean, Garth Brooks is a fucking weirdo. But from my perception back then, Garth Brooks absolutely was the biggest. Like, he was huge, but I didn't feel the crossover effect that I felt with Achy Breaky Heart. Achy Breaky Heart was the first country song that I felt transcended country music into pop culture. From my perception back then when I was younger, it was crazy how it was everywhere. But true country, you know, that's like David Alec Coe and, you know, Waylon Jennings, you know, Hank Williams Jr. And of course, the king. Who's the king of country music, everyone? Who's the king? Who's the true king of country music? George Strait. Somebody said it. Raindor. George freaking Strait. George Strait's awesome. Grant Potato says, oh my God, but don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think he'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, God, kill me now. Oh my God, don't do this. Don't do this. I'm not prepared for it. But what I am prepared for is more Jake Tapper discussions, because Jake Tapper, I have not watched this yet, but what I did see is the New York Post posted about his interview with Piers Morgan. And so I decided to pull that up, and we're going to watch this with Piers Morgan right here. He's making the tour, to kind of promote his book. So he talks to Piers Morgan. So we're going to listen to Jake Tapper. I don't know if this is good, bad. I don't know. I expect Piers Morgan to kind of go in and call him out, but maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. There's people spamming. The mods will take care of it. We got Lady Aaron D. We got Jessica in the house. Yeah, but all he's here, but I feel like this is making him look worse than he believes. I don't know, man. He's come off looking really bad, in my opinion. Let's see. I be lying. Is that how? I don't know if you say it like that, but am I the only one disappointed with Bondi and Patel? No, you're not. I'm disappointed with both of them as well, and Dan Bongino. AOE2 Freak says, love George Strait. Check yes or no is goated. It absolutely is one of his great songs for sure. If I Can Still Make Cheyenne might be my favorite George Strait song. I mean, I have to think, man, there's a laundry list of like great George Strait songs. But If I Can Still Make Cheyenne is definitely at the top for sure. That is a phenomenal song. Mike Zero Source says, I said a prayer for the fallen today. I went to 7 final roll calls. Never gets easier. Please play the Parting Glass in honor of today. I actually, and I'm glad you said something about that, because I meant, this was going to be my intro. I forgot about this. It was what Trump posted is what I wanted to play for my intro. This was, and I'm just going to play it now, what Trump posted. So this is what I'm going to play before we get into the Jake Tapper stuff. And we're going to go full screen for this. So we're going to play this. This is what President Trump posted on Twitter.
These warriors picked up their mantle of duty and service, knowing that to live for others meant always that they might die for others. They gave everything, and we owe them everything and much, much more. Every Gold Star family fights a battle long after the victory is won, and today we lift you up and we hold you high. Our debt to them is eternal, and it does not diminish with time. It only grows and grows and grows with each passing year. The greatest monument to their courage is not carved in marble or cast in bronze. It's all around us, an American nation, 325 million strong. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving America the brightest light in your lives.
It is so nice to have a real president in the White House. It's so nice to have the military and the heroes, the fallen heroes, respected. What was it that Kamala Harris said? Was it Memorial Day weekend that she said, like, enjoy the long weekend or something like that, like 4 or 5 years ago or whatever it was? Am I right about that? Like, enjoy the long weekend. Like, that's all she said, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct about that? She put out a tweet. I want to see if I can find that tweet really quick. I feel like she just said, enjoy the long weekend. And that just puts it in, let's see, long weekend. Let's see. Yeah, right here. Here we go. Remember when Kamala Harris posted enjoy the long weekend instead of honoring the fallen on Memorial Day weekend? My God, did we dodge a bullet last November? That is insane. Enjoy the long weekend with her smiling. This is why I absolutely believe that you should be disqualified from ever being taken seriously in politics forever. If you supported Kamala Harris over President Trump, you should never be taken seriously ever again. That's the line right there. I can't trust you to make a competent decision on anything if you decided that Kamala Harris was a better candidate than Donald Trump. I can't. And this is why Stephen A. Smith should be disqualified forever. And that's why Vinny was 100% right in what he said about Stephen A. Smith. You can never be taken seriously. 100%. Harley Dave for a proper 199. Holy crap, Harley Dave. Harley Dave, I know this is a tough day for you. And I appreciate you. I think this regard, like obviously we're take this day very seriously. But I do think that people appreciate the proper 199 celebration regardless. So there you go, right there. Proper 199 time. The only way to celebrate a proper 199. The best way to celebrate a proper 199.
Should I do it?
Do not come.
Come on, baby. Come on. I'm gonna do it.
Do not come.
I'm gonna come. Beautiful white paint. It's coming down at 10,000 miles an hour. It's coming down at levels of speed that nobody ever even conceived of. Where it's rough, but it's coming, and now it's turned around. It turns around, and it's coming, and it's gonna. I said, oh, because you see at that bottom, this section right here, that sucker's. Oh.
Jiggle makes everything better. Yes, it does. Absolutely. So thank you, Harley Dave. Appreciate you, brother. And yeah, I mean, Kamala Harris, man, I agree with Vinny 100%. You can never take Stephen A seriously. Stephen A is a flip-flopper. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know if Danky uploaded the clip over to D-Day Cobra Clips or not. But I did a reaction to Stephen A Smith's video the other day. Where Vinny from Valuetainment called him out, and Vinny was 100% correct in everything he said about Stephen A. Smith. And so Stephen A. is a flip-flopper, and anyone that backed Kamala Harris cannot be taken seriously for 2028. You just can't do it. Simple as that. If you have not, you can subscribe to D-Day Cobra Clips. That's where we clip out different segments of CobraCast. So if you miss CobraCast, you can at least get the individual segments over there on the Clips channel. So tune in for that. Okay, let's jump into this interview with Jake Tapper and Piers Morgan.
Joining Uncensored to give their perspective on what's been a whirlwind week, the co-authors Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. Gentlemen, welcome to Uncensored.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Piers.
John says, I'm getting so old I can't remember. Did you do anything for my super chat earlier? I was so blown away by it, I forgot.
I'm so happy you love the first drop of my collection of Frankie's bikinis. We have more dreamy pieces coming our way, so tap to sign up for early access so you can get more information.
I don't know if everybody was prepared for that, so I'll play it one more time.
I'm so happy you love the first drop of my collection of Frankie's bikinis. We have more dreamy pieces coming our way, so tap to sign up for early access so you can get more information.
Can we deep fake her into saying something about the 199 or Geeks and Gamers when I play that clip? So John freaking Murdoch maxed out earlier, dropped a $500 super chat. Insane. John, just invest in Geeks and Gamers, man. Just let's take it to the moon, brother. Just email me. Let's let's turn it into You know, the Barstool Sports of the nerd world, and let's take over the world. So there you go. All right, let's hear what they have to say right here.
First of all, congratulations. As somebody who's written many books, what you really want to do is have a #1 bestseller, and absolutely everybody's talking about it. And at some stage, they're all attacking you. So congratulations, really, for the trifecta of literary success.
We're really happy with the response the book's gotten. A lot of people buying it, a lot of people talking about it, and I think one of the things that the book has successfully done is getting people. It's gotten Democrats to acknowledge the reality of what was going on 2023, 2024 in a way that it was not. We didn't take.
It's gotten you to acknowledge what was going on, because you were completely ignoring all of that, Jake Tapper, just like the Democrats were. You were covering up too. So it's gotten you to acknowledge something that you knew was going on, because let's be clear. Jake Tapper's a lot of things. He's not a stupid person. Jake Tapper knew exactly what was going on. He knew exactly what was going on. Anybody with a working brain knew exactly what was going on.
For granted that the premise would be accepted as quickly as it was.
You know, Jake, I mean, look, you and I worked together at CNN. I've known you a long time. You're a fantastic journalist. It's a brilliant book by both of you. So, you know, just my cards on the table. I loved it. But there's one line that just sprang out to me. Of all the lines, a lot of it is shocking. But this line on the decision to run against Trump, on page 85, a longtime Biden aide says he just had to win, and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. That is a kind of jaw-dropping line. When you read it, you can't unread it.
That's literally what happened in 2020, Piers. We've known this. This is exactly what they did in 2020. We watched it happen, and we were told that you're just lying about this. Hey, you're just lying about the Weekend at Bernie's memes, you know, because we said, like, it's Weekend at Bernie's. They're just propping up a dead guy, and they're just putting him in front of a podium, and he's not Trump. That was the whole thing that Joe Biden was running on. He's not Donald Trump. You got to vote for this guy because he's not Donald Trump. But you can't leave your house to vote. So we need mail-in ballots. And, of course, none of that worked. So then we saw what happened in 2020, and all of a sudden, water main pipes start breaking, and they stop counting completely. Unprecedented. We've never seen anything like that. This happened already once. We watched it.
Because what they're basically saying is they were prepared to put a zombie back in the White House.
They already did,
who
Piers.
would have zero ability to do anything but show proof of life. And that person would be the leader of the free world, the president of the United States. I mean, it's truly jaw-dropping.
It's stunning to give credit where credit's due. Alex is the one who got that line. And when we say that almost all of the interviews we did for the book came after the election, that one line is the one exception. That came before the election. And I was stunned too, but I guess it really gets at the premise that so many of these Democrats accepted, which is only Joe Biden has ever beaten Donald Trump, one. Two,
no, he didn't.
Donald Trump has to be defeated because he's an existential threat to the
No, he
nation.
didn't.
And if you buy those two premises, then you can really justify almost anything, which is what the Democrats tried to do, even though the American people were watching and saying in all sorts of polls, we don't believe that this guy can do the job. But I agree with you. That was jaw-dropping to me as well.
And I'll just add a little bit of color, Piers, where what was also sort of shocking that you can't get on the page is honestly how casually this person said it, as if it was, they were not speaking of it as if this was like a profound statement. It was just like, well, obviously, you know, we just, you know, when you elect a president, you're electing the people around him, even if they are unelected or not Senate confirmed.
Nobody's ever elected a president because of the people around them. We've always talked about how historically a vice president really plays no role in if people are going to vote for the person at the top of the ticket or not. That's never been something that people have done. That's never been anything that people have done within politics. Never.
What's extraordinary, Alex, to me, is I was writing columns for the New York Post. I was doing this show throughout that time. Much of it I was doing in London. I'm actually in Dubai at the moment in the Middle East, but I was in London for much of the time that I was writing these columns. So I thought it'd be quite amusing to go back and just check what I was writing in real time about your president from across the Atlantic, because it wasn't just something that was being picked up on by a few rogue people in America. I wrote a piece in July 2022. This was based on the Peter Baker dossier, which he produced. He was the chief White House correspondent of the New York Times, of course. And the dossier was, when you look back on it now, it is extraordinary, really, in its prescience. Revealed that huge concerns about Biden shuffling when he walks, prompting concerns he'll trip on a wire. His speeches are flat and listless. He stumbles so often the staffers hold their breath to see if he can make it to the end without a gaffe. He regularly makes huge policy change announcements that are instantly walked back by the White House. He sometimes loses his train of thought.
How is this shocking to you? We literally watched this shit happen. Have you ever been out in public and you did something incredibly embarrassing and you got everybody looking at you and all you can do is just keep walking because you're like, I don't want to acknowledge anyone around me? That's what he fucking did. Look at it. He just like keeps walking. It's just like, fuck. Let me just keep walking. Oh, shit, man. God, how are they like acting shocked by all this? It's unbelievable to me, dude. Panic and Skyfaller for 20 says, yesterday I had a conversation with a vet who refused to get on the helicopter unless he was allowed to take an orphan girl he saved it back with him from Vietnam and adopt her. He did. Thank you for your service. Yes, that is awesome, man. There's amazing people in the service, and they deserve all the respect in the world. And the fact that there are people out there that are openly disrespectful to the American service men and women are just, it's unbelievable, man. It really, really is. And I'm just glad, I said this earlier today, but it feels good that, we have President Trump and Pete Hegseth in office, and they've brought the military back to greatness. It really is awesome. Sola Felix says, see Macron get slapped by his man hands, his wife. Yeah, we covered that on earlier. So if you missed it earlier, I did an early CobraCast around like 1 Central, 12 Central, something like that. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And I'm probably going to do those every day this week, and then still doing the double as well, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Ben Ryder says, Taylor Swift pre-2012 is country, fight me. I don't disagree with you. When she came out with like that Tim McGraw song and some other, she was 100% country. And then she went full like pop weirdo. VH says, God bless the 199. Poppin' Fresh J says, pour out one for the ones, but not forgotten until Valhalla. Let's go. Thank you. Hermit says, cereal and milk, not with. This is the way. There are more of us out there. Look at that, man. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Let's see here. Clutch City fan says, Snake Pit is always awesome to catch live. I'm tired of the Democrat shills gaslighting us. Cheers to the 19-month member. Jeremy is still gay. Thank you, Clutch City fan. VJ the Vigilance says, Jeremy, this all breaks my heart. My achy breaky heart. Oh my God. Greg Kirby says, hey Biden, how was your trip? Let's listen to them be completely shocked, apparently.
His trouble summoning names. He appears momentarily confused. He called his vice president, President Harris. He mistook Iran for Ukraine. He referred to Senator John Mark Warner as John, mistaking him for a dead Republican senator. Mark Warner, as John, I'm sorry, was taking him for a dead Republican senator. He tumbles off stationary bikes. He stays out of public
We
view.
all saw this, Piers. We all witnessed this. Harley Dave with a $299 super chat. To everyone who's celebrating, I hope you never understand. That is fucking powerful. And I think everybody here can feel that. Powerful. I mean, what more can you say to that? That's why, like, Harley, I know you messaged me a lot of times. Like, there's been times where I was like, oh, man, I'm not sure I can go live tonight because I have all these other things going on. And Harley's like, bro, we need you on CobraCast. You know, you don't understand, you know, what it means. And, of course, I just hear that from Harley's perspective, and it, you know, it means something to me, you know, and I'm like, get out there, dude. You're just, you know, maybe I don't think I'm important, you know, and maybe other people do, or maybe the show, you know, maybe bringing the chat together, the communication that you have, you know, back and forth in the chat, whatever it is that makes CobraCast great. It means something to people, and that means something to me, and I appreciate that. And I'm not sure I'll fully ever understand that, but when somebody like Harley, you know, says it to me, it obviously hits a little harder, you know, so I appreciate you, brother. And those are powerful words, though. To everyone celebrating, I hope you never understand. Well said, sir. Well said. Maggie, for 20, says, I'm behind. My husband and I both worked at Walmart in the early 90s. Achy Breaky Heart played constantly. We're still traumatized. You know what's up. It's seriously, man, it was awful. I can't, my grandmother was obsessed. It was unhealthy. It was an unhealthy situation with her obsession with Achy Breaky Heart. And I don't actually hate Billy Ray Cyrus. Like, I actually like some of his songs, but Achy Breaky Heart, I cannot. I just can't do it. Yeah, it was everywhere, though. It was everywhere. Thoughts and prayers to you, Maggie. Subway J, one of the best profile pictures ever. Thank you, Subway J. Fantastic Miss Knox says, so much for leaving the USA. James Corden is coming back to the USA after 2 years in the UK. Must hate everything that's going on in said UK. Yeah, that guy seems to be very hated by a lot of people. I'm not really sure. I don't pay attention to this guy, this James Corden guy. He's like a late night talk show host or whatever. And I know he's hated by a lot of people. I don't know if there's any legitimacy to it or not. But Rawl says, remember when Biden called Trump his vice president? Yes, I do. And I think I've got this one clip. Where's this one clip of Biden? I think I still have it on here. Do I? Let's see. He's like, we can only elect. Like, he's like, here it is right here.
Because we cannot cannot win this reelection. Excuse me. We can only reelect Donald Trump.
What? This was before he was elected in 2020. And now Piers and Jake Tapper are up here going, this is so shocking to find out. It's so shocking.
Because we cannot cannot win this reelection. Excuse me. We can only reelect Donald Trump.
I'm pretty sure that was before the 2020 election. I think.
You at night, and so on and so on. And I concluded in that piece, this is July 2022, so over 2 years before the election. I said, if his functionality continues to deteriorate at the rate it is doing now, then surely he, Biden, will render himself constitutionally unfit to serve as president. Towards the end of Reagan's presidency, his aides seriously considered whether he might have to be removed from office under the 25th Amendment disability clause. The time for that same conversation to be happening about Joe Biden might fast be approaching. Now, that is a British journalist writing that, albeit in the New York Post, in July 2022, based on a stunning report at the time. And when I read your book, I was just mindful of that period and what Peter Baker had written, what I'd written about it, the fallout and so on. It just defies comprehension that Biden was able to limp on, especially when I read all the additional stuff that you guys have found. He was able to limp on for another 2 and a bit years.
I mean, what's so striking about both this very consequential decision of running for re-election is how little process there was. And basically the word came down that Biden and the First Lady are running and everyone get on board. And the people that had concerns did privately voice them, but never.
I agree with the chat. The guy that's talking, who's, this guy sounds mega gay, like mega gay.
Actually got in the president's face because they had also created a culture where questioning that would be potentially perceived as disloyalty. But I'm also glad that you mentioned, that other people did see this. It wasn't like it was completely hidden. They certainly tried to hide the extent of his decline, but people knew.
Of his decline.
And the fact of the matter is, the Democratic
decline.
Party, the leaders of the Democratic Party, members of the Democratic Congress, not only didn't say anything, but also repeatedly.
None of you said anything either. It took retarded YouTubers like me to say something to give a voice to the people that were just watching it happen. And we're just idiots. I'm from Alabama. There's a chance my parents could be brother and sister, and even I fucking knew what was going on. Clearly, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, and we all still knew what was going on. But you experts, you mainstream journalists with your educations couldn't figure it out.
Attested to him being sharp as ever, on TV, publicly, constantly attacked reporters from the Wall Street Journal when in, almost 2 years after you wrote that column in June of 2024, they were still attacking reporters. And I think it goes back to what Jake said before, which is that if you believe Trump is an existential threat to democracy, you can rationalize almost anything.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, you've been criticized a lot, but I've seen your defense, and it's been quite striking that your defense, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it appears to be that you had very little direct access to Biden yourself.
Is Piers really going to kiss up to Jake Tapper here? So a couple weeks ago, Piers had some woman on, this blonde chick that I guess got canceled for saying the N-word, and then she didn't apologize, and she became like a right-wing, influencer. I don't remember her name. But he had her on the show and he acted all like, oh my God, you said the N-word. Oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Yet here you have Jake Tapper, who literally covered this up and lied for the Biden administration, and you're throwing him softballs.
And you were just deliberately, persistently misled by people at the White House about his condition. I'm not really sure what else somebody in your position can do. If you don't get the access, and Biden was obviously being hidden a lot from people, particularly people like you, it's very hard to see what you were supposed to have done. Now, everybody knows how much I enjoy my tea, and I'm very...
What? Piers has ad reads? Piers. Well, you never invited me back to your show, so fuck you. I'm not letting you do your ad read.
So what our reporting revealed to us is that there were basically two Joe Bidens. There was the one that was perfectly serviceable, gave the State of the Union address in 2024. He was fine. He was old, but he was fine. And then there was this other non-functioning Joe Biden who would lose his train of thought midway through in a disturbing way, not be able to come up with the names of top aides or people he'd known for years, and everything we saw the night of the debate. And what we learned is that the non-functioning Joe Biden really started rearing his head around 2015 after the death of his son, Beau. And then
2015, but you didn't realize it until after the election. Because the truth is that if Biden wins the election, Jake Tapper never has this conversation, because Jake Tapper's not interested in having this conversation. If Biden wins the 2024 election, Jake Tapper never mentions a word about this unless he's told to when they were trying to install Kamala Harris. That's the only time you would have heard him talk about this. But as I have said, this is why I believe Jake Tapper's doing this. Because we've heard reports that the Democrats are saying that Jake Tapper is working as a secret agent of MAGA and all of this bullshit. Jake Tapper is doing this to go after Trump. That's the point of this entire exercise. Don't fall for the smoke and mirrors bullshit about them acting concerned about what the Democrats covered up and everything like that. That's not what is going on here. Their intent is to use this to go after Trump. That's what they're going after. That's the long game here.
And he reared his head on occasion throughout that time, in 2017, 2019, 2020. What you list in that column you wrote, that prescient column, is a number of things that we saw in front of the cameras, or things that Peter Baker and others like yourself noted in columns. But what the people behind the scenes would say is, yes, he's old, but he is sharp as a tack and still running meetings and all of that. And what our reporting uncovered is that non-functioning Biden, right around 2023, the summer of 2023, started rearing his head much more frequently and in much worse a way than previously. So what we discovered was it was a lot worse than what we saw going on. And look, in 2020, I saw him as old. I did not see him as non-functioning.
You are a fucking liar, dude. You are. Oh my God. Now I got to find the clip. Where Biden's like, fuck it. It's on my channel. I've pulled this clip up before. I think that John Talks had it, but John Talks basically had to remove a lot of the videos on his channel for a copyright issue or something like that. But since my most popular video right here. Holy shit. This is an old video. All right, here we go. So I'm going to be reacting to me reacting to, because this is the only, unless somebody can find this video, but it's this one right here. Here we go. You need to go ahead and do that. Let's
Ambrose Finnegan.
It's out right here. I'm looking forward to this one.
My grandpa was named Ambrose Finnegan. As kitchen.
This is leading into the 2020 election. This was what? What?
My grandpa was named Ambrose Finnegan. As kitchen table, I learned. My used to say.
Oh my God. Holy shit. We're 6 seconds into this thing.
My grandpa was named Ambrose Finnegan. As kitchen table, I learned. My used to say, Joey, nobody's better than you, but you're no better than anybody else. Maybe it's the Scranton. I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. Worried about whether they can make next month's mortgage payment. Well, it is what it is because he is who he is. That's why it is what it is. He is who he is.
Don't let these fuckers gaslight you and let you think that they didn't know what was going on. All right? We all knew what was going on.
Remember when he went on, he decided he was going to convince Bob Woodward what a smart guy he was. So he went on, yeah, smart guy. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China. Whoa. What? True international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China. Donald Trump thinks healthcare. Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys. I gotta admit. It's all within our power. It's all within our power. But we're getting there, man. Hang on.
What?
Hang on.
This is a disaster.
To send every single person qualified to community college free. Community college free. And if I keep going, you're going to freeze your fingers off. It wasn't. Donald Trump had to deliver on a damn thing he said he'd do. True international effort to pressure, isolate, and punish China. Joey, nobody's better than you, but you're no better than me, man.
Okay, what? Jeez. So again, let's go back. We didn't know, guys. We didn't know
previously. So what we discovered was it was a lot worse than what we saw going on. And look, I mean, in 2020, I saw him as old. I did not see him as non-functioning.
Liar.
But by 2022, 2023, my coverage was, I did reflect the coverage that people had, the concerns about his aging, what's going on, et cetera. When the Her report came out, that is really an important demarcation, because that's the moment when somebody who's not in Biden's inner circle, and remember at this point in 2023, they start, in this point in 2023, they
did his phone just go off? This is a trained professional. I gotta see that again.
Inner circle, and remember at this point in 2023, they start. In this point in 2023, they start sequestering Biden away from even his own cabinet secretaries. The Her report comes out, and this special counsel's like, look, this is what we saw 5 hours behind the scenes, and it was alarming.
Yeah. My goodness, what a disaster. Jeremy the Cyborg for 20 says, I have a nephew who deployed twice. He never smoked before, but came home a smoker. When anyone tries to give him a hard time, he tells them, you deployed overseas and watch your friends die. Then you can tell me to stop. Absolutely. Let me read that one more time. So, have a nephew who deployed twice. He never smoked before, but came home a smoker. When anyone tries to give him a hard time, he tells them, you deploy overseas and watch your friends die, and then you can tell me to stop. Absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy the Cyborg. August K says, I'd like to give a shout out to the channel James Draws Everything. He just finished drawing every country's flag series, and I'm one of the 30 people who watched it. Great content, only 150 subs. There you go. James Draws Everything. Shout out. Thank you. Mike Zero Sources. So let's see. So fill to me the parting glass and drink a health. Let's see. And drink a health whatever befalls. Then gently rise and softly call good night, and joy be to you all. There we go. Thank you, Mike Zero Source. And it's to me, it's like, it's very, very inspiring to see how many veterans we do have. I don't want to get too far into it, but I will say that, like, you know, some of the, like, I have family that, you know, have gotten involved on the business end of Geeks and Gamers that are veterans. You know, I have a lot of support like that. I don't know, you know, I think the more important thing is that we have that element of leadership that we're bringing to the table from that perspective. That makes me happy. But I said earlier too, and someone misunderstood it, because they said that they said, Jeremy, today is not about thanking veterans; it's about remembering veterans. And like that's not what I was saying earlier. Earlier, I said in general, I think you should, in my opinion anyway, when you see a veteran or a first responder out in public, I think you should walk up and shake their hand and thank them for their service. That's all I was saying. Not in reference to specifically today. In general, I think that people should do that if you feel comfortable to do it. That's all. But just in general, not specific to today, but I think that applies to any day, every day. Raw, got that one. Modest Rat says, to my fallen brothers, also gay Remy, you're not that important. All we need is Jeremy, to be honest. Just kidding. Love the regards of 199 and the iDots. Thank you. Appreciate that. VJ the Vigilant says, sorry, Jeremy, the worst thing Billy made was Miley. What's going on with Miley Cyrus these days? I don't even know. Commodore Fan says, sadly, I understand as my two stepbros lost a stepfather at the Pentagon on 9/11, floor above where the plane hit and burned alive. Never forget. Ooh, truly one of the worst days ever. I've talked about that one many times, but yeah, man, I'll never forget 9/11. I'll never forget experiencing that and watching that unfold. I was living in Panama City, Florida at the time, and that was crazy. Subway J says, it's not that gay. Their women are men. Fantastic Knox says, expert. I'm an expert. I had an education. You listen to me. Jeremy, I'm an idiot, yet I know what's going on with Biden. Yep. Richard Gray says, Jake Tapeworm is the worst C ever. Hydrocoptic says, that clip is from episode 199, if anyone is curious. Shane says, what the fuck did I just listen to? Fantastic Mr. Knox says, remember when the left said Biden was wise? I do. Corn Pop says, his phone was playing Springsteen, Born in the USA. Chad Layton says, thank you for your support of the veteran and military community. Thank you, Chad. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I saw a clip yesterday of Eddie Vedder crying about Donald Trump calling Bruce Springsteen names. And I'm like, these guys are out of their minds, dude. Eddie Vedder is such a loser. All of these rock stars, that claim to be, the Rage Against the Machine mindset, and all of them are just cucks for corporate America and the Democrats.
It was completely alarming. Alex, two specific questions. When it gets into the blame game about who was driving the cover-up, I was struck when, I went back to read these columns I wrote, and the one that I wrote in 2022, it was around that time that Biden suddenly claimed he had cancer. Now, we now know from him that he does have aggressive prostate cancer, and I'm going to come to that in a moment. But he said that he had cancer, only for the White House physician, Kevin O'Connor, to rush out a statement saying he doesn't, and insisting President Biden remains a healthy, vigorous 78-year-old male who is fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency, to which I responded in this column, does he though? President Biden is showing more and more signs of deteriorating cognitive and physical decline that just isn't to do with his age. I know 90-year-olds twice as lucid and mobile as he is. Now, I'm not repeating this to say, oh, look, I was a smart aleck, and much as I would like to do that, obviously, but I'm not. I'm doing it because it just seemed so obvious to me that what they were saying was complete nonsense. On that claim, when Biden said he had cancer, is there any possibility here that he's known all the time he's had prostate cancer?
Yes, he knew. This is, in my opinion, and I'm not saying that I have any information because I clearly don't, but in my opinion, Joe Biden has had cancer well before 2020, and he knew it. Absolutely, I believe that. Now, I'm not saying that I know anything. That's my guess, is that he had it well before 2020, and he knew it, and the people involved knew it. Barack Obama knew it. Big Mike knew it. Dr. Jill Biden knew it. The Democratic leadership knew it, but they didn't care because all that they were focused on is not Trump. Not Trump. When TDS is in your mind, it completely breaks your brain of anything resembling common sense. And all of them have such a case of TDS that none of them are thinking properly. None of them. Agreed, Harley Dave. Everyone knew it. Before we continue, I just saw this really quick. New U.S. military recruitment ad dropped Memorial Day weekend, features Secretary of Defense and POTUS. Let's watch this.
No more distractions. No more electric tanks. No more gender confusion. No more climate change worship.
Yeah!
We are laser focused on our mission of warfighting.
Let's go!
We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. It's called peace through strength.
Yes.
You look into the eyes of these young Americans who are giving up the best years of their life in a uniform to serve their nation. They are incredible.
Through our power and might, we will lead the world to peace. Our friends will respect us. Our enemies will fear us. And the whole world will admire the unrivaled greatness of the United States military. We will replenish the pride of our armed forces, end the recruitment crisis.
We don't fight because we hate what's in front of us. We fight because we love what's behind us.
God bless you. God bless our armed forces. God bless our men and women serving overseas. And God bless the United States of America.
That is an awesome ad. This is what we voted for right here. Holy crap, that's awesome. So proud of President Trump and the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Amazing.
And that stumbled out at the time, and there was some cover-up. It seems outlandish, but given that he did say it, and then they had to correct it, what's your view about that?
Well, he'd had past bouts, I think, of melanoma.
What's up, Shellback?
But, I mean, to answer your question bluntly, yeah, it's possible. And the thing is, there are more questions. The recent disclosure of this stage 4 prostate cancer raises more questions than it answers, because even members of Biden's own COVID team, especially Dr. Zeke Emanuel, have.
It doesn't raise any fucking questions that we, the MAGA crowd, and anyone with common sense hasn't been asking since 2020. It raises no new questions. It raises the same questions that we've been asking. Who's in charge? Who's pulling the strings? And how are we letting them get away with it? These are the same questions that we have all been asking. And all of you clowns in the mainstream media are acting like you're the ones asking these questions suddenly. No, we were censored for asking these questions. We were threatened for asking these questions. We have been silenced for asking these questions because none of you clowns wanted these questions asked.
I've said that it's almost impossible that he would have just developed this cancer in the last 100 days. It's almost certain that he had cancer while he was president. Now, whether or not he knew, we just don't know. So they either missed it, diagnosing the most powerful person in the world, or they did know it, or some people did know it, and they just
stop. How do you, the most powerful person in the world, let's just go with that nonsensical tagline, because in theory, the president of the United States should be the most powerful person in the world. Joe Biden wasn't, but whatever. So yeah, we're just going to go with the idea that they just missed it. They just missed the cancer of the most powerful man in the world. Stop.
didn't disclose it. And that's why Jake and I are actually, we sort of think of this as the first draft of this story, and we've continued to report after we submitted the draft.
Yeah, Jake, I mean, it's a fascinating scenario here, because I don't want to doubt for a moment that the timeline a recent president of the United States is giving about his health. However, everybody else is. And I think that what they're drawing the conclusion, as Ezekiel Emanuel said, it's highly likely he has had this prostate cancer, maybe for the entire term that he was serving as president, which may explain some of the cognitive issues. So it's a really important part of the story. And the timing of the release of the news that he has aggressive prostate cancer, stage 5, I think they said, metastasizing into his bones. And they released that right as your book is published. Now, I don't think you need to be the most elaborate conspiracy theorist to think, was it timed? In other words, did they know for a long time? And did they time the announcement simply to put a lid on you guys having a...
No, it's all because they're working together, Piers. Piers wants to be fake offended over somebody saying a mean word, but he doesn't want to connect obvious dots that are right in front of him, because I guess he just wants to play stupid right now.
Free run at his cognitive disabilities. Am I being a mad conspiracy theorist, or is there potential merit to this?
So we don't have any reporting that suggests that the announcement is anything other than how they've presented it. But that said, this is a White House, or this is a team now. They're not in the White House anymore, but the Biden team has not been transparent about his health. They have been misleading about his health. They have been gaslighting the country about his ability to do the job. We have cabinet secretaries in the book saying that by the end of the Biden presidency, they did not think that President Biden could be relied upon for the proverbial 2 a.m. phone call in the middle of the night with a national security emergency. So while I don't have any confirmation that your skepticism is correct, I certainly understand why people are being skeptical. And look, this goes beyond President Biden. The American people have been lied to about the health of their president as far back as George Washington. Most recently, obviously, with Ronald Reagan.
They're going to go after Trump with this. They're going to create a narrative that Donald Trump is not healthy and he's not fit for office. Even though there's nothing to support this at all, they are going to go after Trump with this.
Having Alzheimer's towards the end of his presidency, JFK having Addison's disease, taking a medicine cabinet worth of drugs every day. There are lots of examples of how the American people are kept in the dark about these sorts of things. So, I mean, I think one of the big lessons for us is, as a public, is that the American people need to demand full transparency when it comes to the health of their presidents, because really right now, these health reports that the White House physicians give.
Do you see the case he's building right here? This is what he's doing. COVID was about Trump. Everything's about Trump. Everything they do is about Trump. Everything. This is not about Biden. People have to understand this. Super Vask 3D for a 20-cent super chat. Happy Memorial Day, American friends. P.S. Have I mentioned I like retro games? Thank you for the 20 cents. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Dan. Good to see you, brother. Oh, man. Mike Zero Source says, as far as country music, I always found Marty Robbins was the most badass singer of all time. Check out the song Big Iron. Noted. Udite says, love the dark epic tone of the music and the military ad as well. No BS there. Exactly as military should be represented. Powerful and honest. Let's go. Aaron Adams says, what did you think of MI8? I liked it, but it was too much going on. I thought they didn't go off of MI7 very good. I liked MI7 better. I was going to go see it Friday night, but the theme parks kicked my ass. I was too tired, so I had to refund my tickets. But I did receive a care package, a very good quality care package. So I'm planning on, I watched about an hour of it already. There is so much exposition in this movie that it's like, what are we doing? So it's not hitting me where I want so far, but I'm invested. So we'll see. I'll finish it tonight, and I'll have a full report next time. So Heartbreak Zero says, hail you fig. I'm about to fly back to LA after a week of vacation in Indy. Happy Memorial Day, and take a swig of water for the brave vets who sacrificed so much and for those who gave everything. From Indy, did you go to the Indianapolis 500? Out of curiosity, if you're in Indy this weekend, were you at the 500? Safe travels, by the way. Black Kane says, take up our quarrel with the foe from failing hands to the torch we throw. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us that die, we shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders field. I'm butchering these lyrics you guys are sending me. Darth Gavel says, the courageous fallen, anguished fallen, their lives have meaning because we the living refuse to forget them. I'm butchering all of this. Jessica says, I feel seen. Bro can't read. Yeah, no shit. It's your first CobraCast? The fuck are you talking about? Of course I can't read. You want reading, go find some educated YouTuber.
They're optional, and they don't have to be in any great detail. And certainly there are times that tests are not given, precisely because, in the words of one White House physician that we spoke with, Dr. Jonathan Reiner, the only reason to not give Joe Biden a cognitive test is if you didn't want to know what it would reveal.
Well, also, Alex, the only reason you may not want to give a man in his late 70s a PSA test for something that almost every man in his late 70s would have reasonably regularly is if you don't want to see the results. because I know a bit about prostate cancer, and a lot of men get it, and a lot of men are told there's no point treating it. You can live with this. Other people aren't so lucky and have to take, quite drastic surgical action or whatever. He's clearly now in a much more serious position where it's metastasized to his bones. But, could it be? They said the last PSA test was 2014. Now, it just, to me, completely stretches credulity that a man who's president of the United States would not just have a simple PSA test. It's one of the easiest things to have in the world.
Why are you guys acting so fucking stupid about this? Everything was a lie, including the motherfucker you're interviewing, Piers. And the fact that you're insulting the audience like we don't know. Like, oh my God, how did this happen, guys? I just don't understand. Because it was all a fucking cover-up. And the guy that you're interviewing is part of the cover-up. And now it seems like you're part of the fucking cover-up, Piers. Jeez.
Why would they not give him one for his entire tenure? And if they did, is that lending succor to the overall view that there's been a huge cover-up about this cancer?
Major props to Megyn Kelly, who went in on Jake Tapper. Piers is throwing him softballs like crazy. This is embarrassing.
Well, the Biden team has been privately sharing articles, and I'm sure you've seen them, about that the PSA tests are not necessarily recommended for people over 70, and that is their explanation. But I can tell you, even Biden people that still love Joe Biden, people that believe Joe Biden was a great president and is a good man, are skeptical of these answers and find themselves basically, doubting the people that they previously trusted. It has surprised and shocked many people that Joe Biden did not have a PSA test since 2014, especially given this recent disclosure.
Yeah. Jake, I want to turn to the infamous debate. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, all the cognitive issues that you brought up in your column in 2022, if that were a loved one of yours, you would take that person to a gerontologist or a neuroscientist. You would take them to some sort of doctor. What's going on here? This is not just aging. This is something else.
This is painful to get through. I really expected Piers to go in at least a little bit on Jake Tapper. And he's done nothing to this point. This is terrible. And I just see this right here from Forbes. New COVID-19 variant causes surge in China, spreading in U.S. Oh, no. So much like I often talk about with Hollywood and the entertainment industry, this is being put out there to see what the reaction will be. This is being put out there to see if they can even get, it's like fishing, all right? View the elites as we are the fish in the pond, okay? And the elites just throw out a lure, and they're like, it's going to take a little while. We'll see if we get any bites, That's essentially what's happened, okay? And then they have all these fucking clowns that'll put their fucking mask on and act terrified. And they're like, hey, there's enough bites out there. We know there's going to be some resistance. But hey, we've got a bunch of mentally ill fucking retarded people with pronouns in their bio and blue hair. And if we can get enough of these mentally weak freaks to think that we actually care about them, we can leverage these losers to just place all of this onto the normal people out there. That's what this is all about right here. So you pronoun weirdos, they're using you as bait because you are the bait because you're retarded. And we all know it.
Alex and I don't think that the Biden people did that. Not because they didn't see it, but because they didn't want to know. They didn't want an answer. I mean, I can think of no other reason other than their being in complete denial that this was going on while you were writing columns about it.
Well, this brings me to Dr. Jill Biden, his wife, who I've interviewed at CNN, actually, and liked very much personally, and has been obviously tremendously supportive to him throughout his...
Really, Piers? Really? This evil fucking devil woman, and you're going to sit here and be like, she's been nice to me. She's actually been very, very nice to me. Good Lord, Piers. Bro, this is embarrassing.
Political career. And we all know the background and the tragedies he's been through and everything. I don't discount any of that from his overall story. However, when I watched the debate, for example, that was the glaring exposure in front of the world that this guy was clearly having serious cognitive issues, was not fit to be president of the United States, and certainly shouldn't even be contemplating another 4 years of this. This was outlandish. And it's some really interesting stuff in the book, I think, Jake, between you and another former colleague of mine, Dana Bash, and you're sort of exchanging notes with each other. You wrote on your iPad, "Holy smokes," to the gallery. And I think she said that he's just lost the election. Amazing.
I do think that they're very scared. I think they're nervous about what Trump is going to do in 2028. I think that they think that Trump is very serious about 2028. And I'm not convinced he's not either, by the way. I'm not convinced he is. I'm not convinced he isn't. I'm not sure what Trump is going to pull off. I really don't know. But I think that they are prepared for Trump to try to do something in 2028. And this is they're building their case against him now. Again, understand this has nothing to do with Joe Biden. It has everything to do with Donald Trump. Everything. Operation Outstanding Infield. What up, brother? I was asked to be the keynote speaker at a Memorial Day event today. I love my bonus career. Honor the fallen. Let's go, man. That's awesome, man. Shout out to you, brother. Logan Miller with 10 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. Thank you, Logan Miller. 10 gifties. He dropped 10 gifties earlier. Burb Shit says apparently there's a new COVID-19 variant that gives you ligma. Well, hopefully no one dies from ligma. We'll see. Logan Miller says, damn it, still no gifty. Let's see. Summeriz says Jeremy speaks for me. He is my beast, our beast. Thank you. Matt Murphy says just use Dr. Jill unironically. Piers is done. Exactly.
Things to be noting in real time. And yet that's what we were all thinking. I was watching it in London. I taped it overnight, woke up at about 6 a.m., watched it. My 12-year-old daughter, she was then, came down, looked at the screen. This was 10 minutes in. Looked at the screen for about 20 seconds and said, "Daddy, is that man asleep?" About Joe Biden. I said, "No, he's not. He's taking part in a debate as to who should be the next president of the United States." And she burst out laughing. She said, "But he's asleep."
Okay, first of all, that probably didn't happen. This is what, like, why do these people always have to use like fake stories about kids? I don't understand it. But the fact that you even invent that story, that it's believable enough to buy, shows you how much we all know you're lying. All of you.
That was the eyes of a 12-year-old. But Jill
Freedom.
Biden, Jake, and her role in this, it just seems to me, I watched that, I thought quite a pitiful appearance on the...
I never understood this whole argument about like, yeah, my 3-day-old son woke up and said, Mommy, why is that man on TV attacking black people? And I said, honey, that's the president of the United States, and he doesn't stand for, he doesn't stand for diversity. And my 3-year-old looked at me, and I looked back at my 3-day-old. My 3-day-old looked at me, and I looked back at my 3-day-old, and I said, it's going to be okay. And my 3-day-old just said, inclusivity matters, Mommy. It's fucking wild, man.
View to try and get ahead of your book, where, again, he just stumbled his way through quite a lot of rambling nonsense. And there she was next to him. And I just, the number of wives who said to me, I would never put my husband through that. And you think of the magnifying glass of the presidency and all it brings. What do you think is going on there? What?
I got to go back to Piers' bullshit story again. I'm really hung up on it.
But Jill Biden, Jake, and her role in this, it just seems to me, I watched that, I thought quite a pitiful appearance on The View to try and get ahead
Was
of
this before it or after
where, again, he just stumbled his way through quite a lot of rambling nonsense. And there she was next to him. And I just, the number of wives who've said to me.
Nope, hang on, back it up.
I've been taking, Daddy, is that man a minute? My 12-year-old, I taped it overnight, woke up at about 6 a.m.
This is such
watched
bullshit.
it. My 12-year-old daughter, she was then, came down, looked at the screen. This was 10 minutes in, looked at the screen for about 20 seconds and said, Daddy, is that man asleep? About
happened. This did not happen. Why would just randomly like ask that question? Kids don't even look at the fucking TV anymore. They're watching YouTube. Their face is buried in their iPad or their phone. They don't give a fuck what happens on TV.
About Joe Biden. I said, no, he's not. He's taking part in a debate as to who should be the next.
Like you gave a serious answer? No, he's not. He's taking place in a debate. He's actually going to be the like what?
President of the United States, and she burst out laughing. She said, but he's asleep. That was the eyes of a 12-year-old.
This didn't happen. This is a ridiculous story. I will never forget. This was a long time ago. Before, I think this is before like I had a YouTube channel and everything like that. My daughter, she did something at school. I grounded her and I told her, no TV for a week. No video games for a week. She didn't give a fuck. And I was shocked. And I was like, she didn't care. There's 300 and something channels on DirecTV. Do you know why? Because she had the internet. She was like, whatever, dude. I don't care if you're taking TV from me. And I was like so shocked. It's like, wait a minute. She didn't care. Like normally I would get a reaction like, no, I've got to watch whatever. She didn't care. She did not give and this was like years ago. She did not give a damn. And I'm like, well, I sure whiffed on that one. She's like, all right, cool. I'll go get on YouTube. I'm sure your 12-year-old daughter walked downstairs and goes, oh, is that man was that man asleep on TV? Good Lord, Piers.
But Jill Biden, Jake, and her role in this, it just seems to me, I watched that, I thought quite a pitiful appearance on The View to try and get ahead of your book, where, again, he just stumbled his way through quite a lot of rambling nonsense. And there she was next to him.
By the way, I'm so caught up on this. Did he say he taped it? Did Piers say he taped it?
Part in a debate. That man, a minute slip, I taped it overnight.
What? Oh, you taped it. When did you turn OBS on and screen record it? The fuck did you? This is such a made up story. I'm so caught up on this shit, dude.
Woke up at about 6 a.m., watched it. My 12-year-old daughter, she was then, came down, looked at the screen. This was 10 minutes in. Looked at the screen for about 20 seconds and said, Daddy, is that man asleep? About Joe Biden. I said, no, he's not. He's taking part in a debate as to who should be the next president of the United States. And she burst out laughing. She said, but he's asleep. That was the eyes of a 12-year-old. But Jill Biden, Jake, and her role in this, it just seems to me, I watched that, I thought quite a pitiful appearance on The View to try and get ahead of your
journalist,
where, again, he just stumbled his way through quite a lot of rambling nonsense. And there she was next to him. And I just, the number of wives who said to me, I would never put my husband through that. And you think of the magnifying glass of the presidency and all it brings. What do you think is going on there? Why would, she's not an actual doctor, I know that. But no, why would his wife, given what he's been through in his life, losing his first wife, losing his baby daughter, losing his son Beau in his 40s, why would she want to put him through that kind of humiliation and potential huge stress that goes with that job on his health, which was clearly deteriorating?
So I think there are any number of reasons. I mean, we contain multitudes, right? So the first one is the belief that only Joe can beat Donald Trump, and Donald Trump poses an existential threat. So that drives a lot of the decision making. There's also the fact that she loves him dearly, and this is what he wants to do, so she's with him. There's also a third reason. She's in denial about what's going on, as is not uncommon for spouses whose husbands or wives are going through some deterioration. Fourth, and this is the less flattering explanation, she was very enamored of the lifestyle. It is fun being first lady. She was on three Vogue covers in 4 years. That's the same number that Michelle Obama was on in 8 years. Alex had reporting about people close to the White House or people close to the first lady saying that she had become Jackie Ode. She had really gotten in to what it's like to be first lady and the glamour and all that. And then fifth of all, there's also the Hunter factor, which is the fact that Hunter Biden was under investigation. And the best way that they could protect him was to keep the presidency so that they could protect him either through the Justice Department, which didn't go as well as they wanted, or through the pardon power, which they did. They ultimately pardoned him.
Fascinating. Alex, I mean, the other potential villain.
This is embarrassing for Piers. It really is. I was really hoping that there was going to be a little more here, and maybe there is, but this is really bad. Vault 95 says, Piers is still part of the machine, always will be. Logan Miller says, you needed the Alex and Piers OG clip. Oh man, that's glorious. That's internet gold right there. I do want to keep watching this, but I don't know the full context of this clip. But this Matt Walsh clip is something else. Presented without comment.
If there is any trans joy, if it happens at all, it happens very briefly, sometime between the 25th story and the ground.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Woo! Woo! Perhaps I treated you too harshly, Matt.
Here are the coterie of big celebrities, led, I would argue, by George Clooney, who did perform a screeching U-turn after that debate. But, you know, he was there at that fundraiser in LA when Obama had to lead Biden off. And it was quite obvious what he was doing. He was trying to protect him from sort of losing his way on stage in front of the world. But, you know, I do find it pretty rich that people like George Clooney are positioning themselves as the great saviors of this crisis when they all knew. You know, this idea that they...
That's what Jake Tapper's doing. Am I taking crazy pills? Am I the only one that sees this? I literally have a man sitting on your panel right now that is doing the very thing that you're complaining that George Clooney did.
They didn't know what he was actually like, given the time they were spending around him. They knew. You know, Barack Obama knew. George Clooney knew. The whole
Jake
Democrat
Tapper knew.
Machine around Biden knew. The White House, they all knew, didn't they? I mean, they were all in on this. They were all in on this. It can't be Trump. Therefore, we just have to pretend this is going to be okay.
Well, to single out George Clooney, I don't think it's completely fair because George Clooney had only seen him in late 20.
Fuck off.
2022, and then after, you know, I think you're right.
Yeah, but Alex, hang on. Let me just stop you there. He'd seen exactly what I'd been seeing. So you don't have to physically see him. I've never met Joe Biden. He rang me once about a column I wrote. Very poignant conversation we had actually about when Bo died. And I said he was potentially the greatest American president America will now never know it could have had. And he rang me and it was a very moving conversation about life and grief and everything else. That was my only ever contact with Joe Biden. But it didn't take me having to see him in that period to witness what I was witnessing with my own eyes. And so was George Clooney. He's a politically savvy guy. And that's what I mean is I don't think they had to physically be in the room with him to know what was going on.
Well, I'd say George Clooney, was believing a lot of what the people behind the White House were telling people, including White House reporters, and White House reporters believed it, even though they were around longer than George Clooney. I'd also say that George Clooney, this is not like a George Clooney apologist tour here, but I'd say George Clooney had a lot more courage in writing that op-ed calling for Biden to drop out after the debate than basically most members of the Democratic Party. At the end of the day, only one Democratic senator, despite the vast majority, almost all of them believing he should no longer be the nominee, only one said so publicly. So I agree that there is a lot of blame
to show you these clowns are. That is case in point right there. You just said that George Clooney had courage for writing an op-ed
to go around. But I think like the blame really goes actually more so to like the leaders of the Democratic Party who did see something. If you want to say like George Clooney should have spoken up after that fundraiser where Joe Biden didn't recognize him, fair enough. But you have to also remember that fundraiser was after a really brutal stretch of travel. And I think that's how a lot of people at that fundraiser, including those that were very concerned in the audience, rationalized not speaking up at the time.
Yeah. Jake,
and
in the
Piers,
conclusion,
if I could just note, I just wanted to say, George Orwell once wrote, "To see what is in front of one's nose needs a constant struggle." So you saw it, okay? And like, there are a lot of people who saw it. A lot of voters saw it. But the question was, how bad was it really? And I think there were a lot of people, the press corps included, who were not able to see what was in front of their nose, our nose. And so kudos to everybody who was right on target. And this is also just an explanation of how much worse it was away from your nose, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Let's get a reminder about George Clooney. Let's get a reminder. Let's listen to what George Clooney has to say right here.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen because we're not going to be used. Fear is not going to be something that we're going to, that's going to be what drives our country. We're not going to be scared of Muslims or immigrants or women. We're not actually afraid of anything. So, we're not going to use fear. So that's not going to be an issue. I think it is, if you're asking if it's a harbinger, I think that, and I think you would agree, and I think we all sort of see it, I think that's sort of landed in a way. Trump is actually a result in many ways of the fact that much of the news programs didn't follow up and ask tough questions. That's the truth. It was, it's really easy because your numbers go up. All these cable news numbers, there's 24-hour news doesn't mean you get more news. It just means you get the same news more. So the more and more and more you hear, these guys, the ratings go up because they can show up empty podiums saying Donald Trump is about to speak, as opposed to taking those 30 seconds and saying, well, let's talk about refugees, which is the biggest crisis that's going on in the world right now. Would really all of the corporations fall on their knees if we did actually inform a little bit? So I think that this movie is pointed.
So, George, I think the truth of the matter is what bothers you most is that Donald Trump is a bigger celebrity than you. And that bothers you. That bothers a lot of these Hollywood celebrities because Donald Trump is the biggest celebrity in the world. He's more famous than all of you. He's more important than all of you. And that drives them crazy. Oh, it eats them up so much that Donald Trump is a bigger celebrity than all of them. It also drives them crazy that he's a young, vibrant man.
I just feel like a young man. I'm so young. I can't believe it. I'm the youngest person. I am a young, vibrant man. I look at Joe. I don't know about him. I don't know. Macho man, yeah.
Poor George Clooney.
Yeah. Well, this brings me to your conclusion, which said Joe Biden is not Richard Nixon. The hiding and the cover-up of his deterioration is not Watergate. I'm not entirely sure I agree, Jake, with that conclusion. Yeah,
well,
I'm not entirely sure.
The next line is it is an entirely separate scandal. It is a scandal.
Yes.
It is It is without question, and maybe even worse than Watergate in some ways.
Right.
Because Richard Nixon was in control of his faculties when he wasn't drinking, and so the idea that we don't mean to exonerate. The only reason that we have the Watergate thing is there because we quote Archibald Cox, who was a Watergate investigator, talking about how powerful the presidency is and how presidents get surrounded by people who have a vested interest in keeping that president propped up. So
I'm not an expert on Watergate. I know that I was told that Watergate was like the worst thing ever when I was younger. And I'm at a point now where I don't believe that it was near as bad as I was presented it to be, because the media has lied to me my whole life. It's lied to you, lied to everybody. This is what the media does. This is why so many people are questioning everything that we've ever heard, because we've been lied to our entire lives. And, when I've made this comment before recently, but when you tell someone like me that grew up watching Donald Trump be world famous and loved by the media and loved by Hollywood and loved by everybody. He was put cameos in television, cameos in movies. He had his own reality show where all these celebrities worshiped him. He was on the news. They worshiped him on the news. And then you're going to tell us that he's Hitler. And when you did that, you fucked up. You have created so many people that are questioning everything now, because you're like, wait a minute. You can't sit here and tell me that this guy who's been famous for 3 or 4 decades, who you've all celebrated, you shook hands with, you took pictures with, you had him on your shows, Oprah, sat there and talked about how magnetic his personality is. You sit there and talked about, hey, you should run for president. They all asked him, should he run? You want to run for president? Everybody wants you to run for president. You sit there and then turn around and say, this guy's Hitler. This guy's racist. This guy's the worst person ever. That right there was the breaking moment for so many people to say, you guys have been lying to us forever. Everything we've ever learned, everything you ever taught us in school, everything that you told us was the truth, we don't believe, because you are lying to us right here, right now, to our faces. You are telling us that what we have seen with our own eyes and heard with our own ears is not accurate. And I saw Gary in the chat. What's up, Gary? And that is where we are now. You don't get to do that all over again, because the power is now in the decentralized media landscape that we have. There is no 3-network, kingpin anymore, because that's all there was when I was growing up. You had 3 networks. That was my access. That was our access to finding out what was going on around the world. And it was presented in whatever the way that they wanted the people to find out. They don't have that anymore. It's over, and it's never returning back to normal. You're never going to be able to do that. So just using common sense, you would have to argue that the Joe Biden cover-up is, of our lifetime, the biggest scandal by a mile, not even remotely close. You're talking about a man who had cancer, a man who didn't know where he was. We all watched the 81 million votes nonsense happen, and none of us believed that one, by the way. You couldn't convince us otherwise. And guess what? To only prove that we were right, you silenced us when we said that it was a cover-up. You silenced us when we said that they cheated. You silenced us when we said this doesn't make sense. I'm literally watching the election the night it happened. I'm seeing Donald Trump do the same thing in 2020 that he did in 2016. I'm watching the same thing play out. And then you stopped counting. You stopped counting, which is insane. And at that point, it was over. You've lost forever now. People have finally realized that you have been fed bullshit your entire life by these clowns. We're never going back.
That's the only reason we invoke Watergate, is just to make clear, like, it's not Watergate.
Right.
This is an entirely separate scandal. Maybe even worse. I maybe even worse.
Yeah, I think arguably it is worse, actually. So, Jake, I can't let you off the hook completely. Much as I loved your book, you'd expect nothing else from a former CNNer. I want to play the infamous clip now. This is of you and Lara Trump, which you know all about. Let's play it and I'll ask you a question about this afterwards.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
What's
first and foremost, I had no idea.
What's blurred out? Are they blurring out Jake Tapper's tits or Laura Trump's tits? What the fuck's going on here?
That Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline. That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You are
to watch somebody on stage search for
that's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were
stuttering,
mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think.
So, Jake, I'm going to put my David Frost hat on here, being a British broadcaster, and following the Watergate theme. You may remember it took David 30 hours or just under 30 hours of interrogation before he got the famous apology to the American people out of Richard Nixon. And my question for you would be this. I know you apologized, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, to Lara Trump, that you've contacted her since and apologized to her. Do you feel, Alex, I saw your speech at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which I thought was very powerful and very sort of mea culpa, even though you were one of the least people that people have been blaming, actually. But Jake, in your case, do you feel that you owe the American people an apology for slightly dropping the ball with this?
Slightly,
and not just to
slightly, Piers. Why are you giving him such a layup? Why are you doing this? Slightly? He slightly dropped the ball?
I feel like I owe the American people an acknowledgement that I wish I had covered the story better. That knowing what we know now and looking back on that interview, which I feel tremendous humility about, she was right and I was wrong. I did not see in the moments he was having, I did not see that as cognitive decline. She did. Our reporting suggests that she was correct. So I feel humility. I've apologized to her. And I feel like, and I think this is something, quite frankly, that other journalists should think about when it comes to other mistakes, because I'm surely not the only American journalist that wishes he or she had covered this better. In legacy media, I should point out, conservative media was on this from the very beginning. And that is, I will try to do better. And that I could roll a bunch of clips of me asking about this issue. And in 2020, I asked President Biden, then Vice President Biden, will you pledge to be transparent about your health? And he said yes, although he was not. And I had only got one interview with him as president in 2022. And I asked him about the American people think you're too old. Whenever you're confronted with that, you say, watch me. The American people are watching you. They still think you're too old. So it's not like I was ignoring it. And it's not like I was part of the effort to hide this. But in retrospect, of course, I wish my coverage had been better on this subject. And I think while I recognize to a degree I'm the avatar of American legacy journalism right now when it comes to this story, I think in order to regain trust, that there is something that we can do when we fall short, and I'm acknowledging it.
I completely agree.
If I can just add,
let the gay guy talk now.
One thing, and maybe potentially embarrass Jake, is that first of all, this book was Jake's idea.
Oh God!
His idea basically the day before the election. And also, when you're on a beat, the people that are suck-ups, the people that are lazy, the people that are tough. And while Jake is acknowledging that he fell short on this part of the Biden story, I know that Jake did not carry water for the Biden people. I covered the Biden White House every day for 4 years. I know the reporters they like, the reporters they don't like. Jake was not on their Christmas card list. So I would just say, that's the reason why I was enthusiastic when he had the idea for the book. It's the reason why I said yes.
Well, listen, I've made my feelings clear to you, Jay.
Absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. Matt Murphy for 20 says, Jay, it's worse. They are letting them run around and say that Trump was an existential threat as an excuse for these bad actions, like it's a fact. They need to ask Jake and company if they believe the same nonsense. I was really hoping for more from Piers out of this one. This was this is Sean Hannity talking to Donald Trump. Just softball on top of softball on top of softball. Like, that's what this was. There was no pressing him of anything at all. Jake Skywalker says Watergate is peanuts compared to raiding Trump. TJTK says censorship is an admission of weakness. I agree. Bill Herb says, I feel like Joe Biden thing. I feel the Joe Biden thing is people acting surprised at something like water being wet. Like, it's obvious to everyone with a working brain and eyes. Exactly. Sally says Tapper is just acknowledging and not apologizing. What a POS. Absolutely. Let's continue.
I think you've actually been very honest about this, as have you, Alex. And I really enjoyed the book. Just one final question that struck me, Jay. It strikes me that Biden couldn't have gotten away with this in my country, in the UK. One of the reasons being that every week in Parliament, the Prime Minister, at the very minimum, has to get up for, half an hour, 30 minutes of interrogation in front of the world. You couldn't hide like this in the UK system. As you finished your book, you guys, did you reach any conclusion about how the system could get tweaked in America to avoid this happening again?
First, I mean, you are right. And as much as I'm an America lover, there is no way that a prime minister in the UK, or really anywhere in New Zealand, there's no way this could happen because of not only question time on Sundays, but also because you don't have the incredibly strong executive mold that we have in the United States. Your parties are stronger. Your parliament is stronger than we have in the United States. And while,
you get treated worse by the mainstream media for saying a mean word than you do covering up for the president of the United States, who was never properly elected, who cheated to be elected. They stole an election from Donald Trump. So let's start there. So first and foremost, stolen election to get him into office. Secondly, he was never fit to be in office. And you have people covering that up. And you get treated worse for saying a no-no word. Because words are mean, everybody. Words are the worst things that can ever happen. But covering up a presidential election and a presidential campaign and an auto pin as president, that's not bad. But saying a word, that's really bad, guys. That's really bad.
This is the system we have. It also means that if Keir Starmer were to show evidence of cognitive decline, whoever's his number two would be right there saying, something's going on with Keir Starmer, and the party would step in and force him to step down. No offense to Prime Minister Starmer. I'm just using it as an example. But there's no way it would happen. We need to do something in the United States. I don't think you could do anything and pass any.
This is now the lead into we've got to get Trump out of there. He's too old, guys. He doesn't have the mental capability.
Law that would affect the current president. That's just not how our legislature works. But our personal view, Alex and myself, is that the health requirements and disclosures should be mandated by law and have to be presented under threat of perjury by the White House physician. Not just summaries of health records, but all the health records. This is the most powerful position in the world, elected position, and the public has every right to know what's going on with the health of their president. That's the only solution we can think of, because we're not going to adopt a parliamentary republic system, but I think that could be at least helpful.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, great to talk to you guys. Jake, Alex, I love the book, Original Sin. You don't need me to promote it. It's a runaway bestseller, but I think you've done a great public service here. I think it had to be told, this story.
Fuck off with that nonsense, Piers. Good Lord, man. What an embarrassing interview with Fake Tapper. Unbelievable. Sally, I got that one. Fantastic Knox says Trump will just do a cognitive test to shut them up. They won't accept it. Like that they're not. Again, we've already learned that this is. They are not interested. They are not interested in facts or reality of any kind. Solo Felix says the PM here is a Biden clone. LOL, he even fell over. There you go. Absolutely insane, man. I just saw this clip right here. This was posted yesterday. Watch this. I know nothing about this. I just saw this clip. Have you guys seen this? What? This is insane. Wow. That is insane. Home security footage captured the moment a truck exploded, damaging multiple homes in suburban Chicago. Police said the driver sustained minor injuries. Investigators believe it was a leaking propane tank that being carried in the truck that may have triggered the blast. That is wild, if that's even real. It doesn't even look real. But I just saw that. I wanted to show you. I haven't seen it on my timeline or anything. So my timeline's full of video game news and stuff like that. So that's what my timeline is. I did see this deep fake going around right here, how influencers would act during a nuclear attack. So this is all AI generated, and it's terrifying how real it is. Farts be like that sometimes. This is crazy.
A detonation has just occurred on the outer ring of the city. We'll now be going live to our top influencer opinions. OMG, people, the world is ending. Are you seeing this? This is actually so exciting.
Yo, I know it's chaos, but you got real survivor's wife energy.
That's cool. I like them feisty.
Like, it would totally be better if we ran it, you know? Men literally destroy everything, and my girls need to stop being so soft with these basic losers. Who even needs men, right? Anything a man builds just gets destroyed by a different man.
Guys, this collapse is literally the perfect dip. I'm buying more right now.
Nukes are Sua's aesthetic today. I made this outfit. Even as the world burns, my struggle for visibility and acceptance continues.
Even as the world burns, my struggle continues. That is so accurate. Holy shit, that's accurate.
Even as the world burns, my struggle for visibility and acceptance continues. This is exactly why representation matters now more than ever.
As I keep saying on the channel, the world collapses when men stop lifting. It's not politics, it's testosterone.
Yes, yes, yes. Balloon time. So yummy. Nuclear boom. So tasty. Thank you.
Nothing stops the daily grind.
Do you guys know how fucked we are? Like, seriously, I don't know if we've, like, conceptualized how fucked we are with AI. We are fucked. This is going to be bad. As technology advances, this is really bad. I don't think that we have properly figured out how bad this is going to be. I mean, like, even today, like, if you could have, in my lifetime, I, obviously worked retail. I went to, Walmart today. And I hate it. I hate that like everything's a self-checkout. And if you would have told me back when I worked retail, because like, man, let me just say, it takes the finer things in life out of the equation. All right. When I first started, all right, here's how it worked when we worked at the grocery store and I was a bag boy. And there was like, I don't know, we probably had like 8 or 10 bag boys on staff. The process was, all right, we all had to play paper, rock, scissors, and then we had to pick which hot cashier we wanted to stand behind, you know, because if you're bagging groceries and you're standing behind her, it's a good view. It's a good perk of the job, okay? So this is how it went. We don't have any of that anymore. Do you know how cool it was to be like, okay, you know, she's so-and-so, she's over there on register 5, man. I got to go bag groceries over there. Like, that's how we used to do it. You don't have that anymore. That is taking a crucial element of society out of the equation. Oh, man. But in all reality, I did. I go in there and I'm like, there's one overweight black chick on her phone. She's supposed to be running self-checkout. She's looking at her phone. She's smacking gum. She's not looking at anything going on. And there's just people walking through self-checkout. That's your experience. That's your shopping experience right there. You got an overweight black chick who doesn't even give a fuck about her job, not paying attention. And of course, when you ask her a question, Lord have mercy, have you inconvenienced her day? Man, you have inconvenienced her day. How dare you ask this employee a question? How dare you get her off of Instagram or TikTok? It's bad. It's very bad. But yes, AI is going to be the... I'm really scared of what the future holds for AI. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is all AI right here.
Not even a little natural disaster. Friends, this is the breakthrough moment from chapter 7. When everything falls apart, we rebuild ourselves stronger.
Hey, girl, you wouldn't believe what just happened.
Hi! OMG, I just totally shit my pants after that noise.
Chat, this is literally the most realistic survival game ever. And someone donate so I can buy a boat DLC before I actually drown.
All right, that might be me right there. That might be me. All right? That one might be me.
That noise.
Chat, this is literally the most realistic survival game ever. And someone donate so I can buy a boat DLC before I actually drown.
So this company says their device is quote unquote indestructible, supposedly survives anything, including the literal end times.
Hey guys, remember, health is wealth. That's why I take these 7 supplements right before my cheese stuffed hot dogs.
Officials confirm outbound flights are suspended, except for government and priority class departures.
My dog has diplomatic status.
OMG, there's like a nuke or something? Can we get 5 gifted subs for surviving the blast, maybe?
Today I'm showing you how to infiltrate an executive class bunker using only social engineering and a vape.
Your nukes are so manly. You're such a big boy. Go check out the link in bio, my king.
I told you so.
By the way, I saw the other day, if I can find it. This was very shocking to me. And I guess it just shows how, like, I don't know. I am very, let me see. It's going to take me a second to find this. But it's very interesting. All right. The most searched terms on YouTube. And guess what number 1 was? I think I can, let me see. Did I follow this account? I think I followed this account. Okay, right here. So the most searched term, guess who the most searched individual was on all of YouTube? Of course, most popular searches right here. Trump was the number 1 most popular search in terms of the U.S. In 2025, Trump. But ASMR was number 1. Do that many people watch ASMR? Really? Most popular YouTube global search in 2025. ASMR #1, Trump 2, Mr. Beast 3, Music 4. I just can't believe ASMR is that big of a deal. I really I remember I've made a few videos from when I'm traveling, and I'll be on I don't like to it was late night, I don't like to talk very loud in a hotel room. So people are like, is this Jeremy ASMR? I didn't know what the fuck ASMR was. But yeah, look at the search volume for ASMR. That is wild. Anyway.
When I said they'd shut down the grid, look at you scrambling like rats now. The fiat system is collapsing exactly as we predicted. I just bought a bunker with doggy coin and a handshake. You losers can keep your degrees.
Remember, beautiful souls, even when the earth ends, we find our center. This is just the universe asking us to go deeper into our practice.
The world's in flames, but I'm on track. I manifest, then never give back.
Day in the life, guys, girls. Even during the apocalypse, I'm staying grateful, staying blessed. Link in bio for my manifestation course that literally predicted all this.
Seed oils made y'all weak, but this here.
Y'all see this chaos, but plants don't lie. Earth's just cleansing the toxicity we've been ignoring.
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible this is all just a simulation glitching out, but what do I know?
I told you so for 20 years of it. The globalist.
All right, you know who that is. You 100% know who that is.
It's the deep state, your precious government K. Wake up, people. They're not coming to save you now. Damn, you evacuate like a goddess.
So,
Bro, she smiled. That was a yes in fight or flight.
Everything is fake, including me. I'm a construct created by the Door Brothers. Anyway, here's Tom with the weather.
That is terrifying.
So we got some weather happening over here, and looks like it's going to be.
That is absolutely insane. Holy crap. Yeah, we're screwed, man. Give it a few years and AI is going to be so advanced. I don't know. You can, if you know what you're looking for, you can tell the differences right now, but it's very I don't even want to react to things anymore because I'm like, is this real or not? I don't even know. I can't tell. By the way, I did ratio IGN. IGN dropped their review for Epic Universe. And they said that there were forgettable rides. So I said to IGN, forgettable rides, that's how most of your staff got their access. Go back to virtue signaling and give bad games good reviews. Epic Universe is awesome. So there you go. So fuck IGN. My goal is to crush IGN with geeksandgamers.com. That's the goal. We want to destroy them. So hopefully we're able to do that in time. Darth Gavel says that Jake said America lover like it tasted like shit. What a disgraceful human. Absolutely. Ben Ryder says Skynet 1.0 is getting too damn good. Kai Guy says, did you hear about Amazon AI supposedly blackmailing engineers who tried shutting it down? I haven't heard about that. TJTK says, Jeremy, agree. Most every AI test shown that even when humans try to overcome AI, we lose badly. AI cannot become smarter than us or we'll be dead. I think it was Elon Musk talked about this a long time ago, and he talked about that that AI would be the most dangerous thing that we would face. And this was years and years ago. It's really bad. Eric K says CobraCast does not like Jeremy ASMR. We like Jeremy muted or even better, a guest host. Summer Riz says that Jeremy is needed to be in charge of everything. I wouldn't say that, but what I am good at delegating people to be in charge of things. So like, for instance, you give me control of Disney, I'm calling George Lucas and I'm like, here's Star Wars, sir. I'm sorry for everything. Please turn it over to, you know, family or whatever, just I know you made a bad mistake with Kathleen. We all make mistakes, but it's yours, sir. Take it back. Okay. Take it back. Eric K says CobraCast 2028 AI host the better CobraCast. Vault 95 says people in 1905 said we're screwed seeing movies. Yeah, and I get that. I mean, every generation gets to that point where you're like, oh man, this is dangerous. But like, it does feel like something. We're at the cusp of something that cannot be regulated and controlled at this point with AI. As technology advances, it's going to get to the point where we can't even tell what's real and what's not anymore. And that is scary. Very scary. Best and the brightest. What's up, Corn Pop? They kicked Elon out of the company because he spoke out about it. Is that really what happened? It's so close. George Lucas is woke. Lucas probably is woke, but I've never seen it in, you know, the content that he created. But I would more than likely, I don't even think that's debatable. I think George Lucas is absolutely woke in terms of who he is and what he believes. But he's never, from my perspective, he's never let that bleed into the art. Mark Hamill's gone off the deep end. Mark Hamill's so far gone, it's not even worth talking about anymore. Oh, someone else that's lost their mind. Look at this right here. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Right here. Good old Brian. Now this is like, I think this was back in 2020. I'm not sure. I think this is from 2020. Let's listen to Bryan Cranston.
Make America Great Again. My comment is, do you accept that that could possibly be construed as a racist remark? And most people, a lot of people go, how could that be racist? Make America great again? I said, so just ask yourself from an African-American experience, when was it ever great in America for the African-American? When was it great? So if you're making it great again, it's not including them. Make America great.
So I would say, Bryan Cranston, that sure, I accept that, you know, somebody might think it's racist, and you can also accept that I don't give a fuck. How about that, Bryan Cranston? I accept that you can call it racist, and you can accept that I don't give a fuck what you think. How about that? MAGA hat stays on. That's the answer. The answer is to always let them know that you don't give a fuck what they think. I don't care what you think. Your feelings mean nothing to me. Your hurt feelings should never determine my actions, and they never will determine my actions. You can never let someone else's hurt feelings determine your actions. Period. End of discussion. Your feelings do not determine my decisions. They never have, and they never will. Just not going to happen. Deshaun 2 says, for 20, says AI is going to be big in years to come. Get ready for everyone making their own movies, games, and videos. Heck, everybody's going to have their own AI for anything, anything news anchors, TV show hosts, their own actors and music. You're correct. You are 100% correct. It's going to change everything, probably for the worse. But at the same time, let's be real. Oh my God, Brock, I'll go back to yours. Brock, F5's in the chat, baby. F5's in the chat. Brock just dropped 50 gifted memberships. 50 gifties. F5's in the chat. Thank you, Brock. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, so back to this. Let's look at it from, okay. So our entire life, as I've said, we've been lied to. We've been lied to by the mainstream media. We've been lied to by the school system. We've been lied to from corporate America. We have been lied to in every aspect of our lives. Essentially, we, the people, the masses of people, have been treated like toddlers. How do we treat toddlers? We tell toddlers, oh, yes, it's okay. You can do this. You can do that. Like, we entertain their fantasies, but we don't tell them the realities of the world until they get older. But they don't care about us getting older and more wise. They still treat us like toddlers because they go, they can't know about this. They can't know about this. We can't tell them the truth about what's going on. So we have to feed them other things. The difference is now with the decentralized media, that is going to end, and it kind of has ended in a lot of ways. But as we progress more into this new technology in this future, you think it will be bad, and it probably will be. AI is terrifying, but at least it's not controlled by the evil entities that have controlled the messaging for forever. So I don't know, man. There's some positive ways to look at this, but there's negative ways to look at it as well. So I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. Thank you, Brock, again. 50 gifted memberships from Brock. Gifty should really target people in the chat first. What happened? We get some people like, yeah, Gift is, it's weird, man. Gifted memberships are very strange in how they are distributed. But they get the chat very, very excited, man. They get the chat very excited. People go crazy when they see the Gifties flying. It's awesome. Another thing I'm noticing too is a lot of people are using Grok to get answers for things, and Grok is really stupid in a lot of ways. I guess there's basic information that Grok is good at, but yeah, Grok is kind of stupid in certain ways too. But it will get better, I'm sure. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff that, you know, I see Grok out there answering. I'm like, no, that's not the case at all. Let's see. The good Tom King says, great actor, not a great thinker. Agreed. I mean, Bryan Cranston's a phenomenal actor. I mean, Breaking Bad is still one of my favorite shows of all time. But this is the thing about actors. You're better. We pay money to watch you pretend to be other people. We don't care who you really are. And that's just the harsh reality that actors, I don't think actors like to hear that. But my message to celebrities and Hollywood actors is that we don't give a fuck about you. I do not care about you. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your beliefs. I don't care about your struggles. I want you to shut the fuck up and pretend to be someone that you're not. That is what I think of you. I do not give a shit about you. I don't care about anything. You have millions of dollars. You have a big house in Hollywood. You have cars. That's great. I don't care. Pretend to be someone you're not. That's what I want out of you. That's it. Same with athletes. I don't give a fuck about you. I want you to entertain me. Your job is to shut the fuck up and entertain me. That's what I want from you. I don't want anything else. I want you to shut the fuck up, make your millions, and entertain me. That's all I want from you. End of discussion. Karnak says, hey, Jeremy, Hypnotic just had Baroness of Cobra in Waifu Battle. She won 316 against, let's see, I don't know who that is, but so Baroness won. Hail Baroness. I believe the voice actress for Baroness passed away. She had this amazing picture. Hang on, let's see. Let me see if I can find it. It's like one of the coolest pictures ever. If I could find it. All right, here we go. Copy that. paste if I'm able to. Baroness is awesome. Yeah, here it is. Look at this picture. Morgan Lofting. Look at this picture of her. RIP to her. She passed away in 2024. But you want to talk about a badass picture. Look at that. Come on now. Is that not an awesome picture? RIP to her. I think it was like late 2024 is when she passed away. Such a badass picture. So she's even got the Cobra shirt on and everything. So it looks like it's at a con. So that's cool as hell, man. So, yeah. Can we get that for Krista? You know what? People have asked Krista to do the cosplay for Baroness. That's been a request. So you'll have to go into her chat. You guys got to ask her about that. Fantastic Mr. Knox says that there's a quote in The Simpsons by the character Troy McClure. There's the truth, shakes head, and there's the truth, nods head with a smile. That's mainstream media. 100%. Summariz says that Jeremy needs to be in charge of delegating all. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Dark Gavel says, I'm Jeremy. Do you know the government set $500 billion for AI research and development? I do. I know that, like, again, with Elon in President Trump's ear, I mean, Elon knows the dangers of AI better than anybody. So I'm very, very glad that Elon is involved. I am curious how much further Elon's going to be involved moving forward, because it's clear that he's starting to slowly take a step back from politics. But I imagine he's in Trump's ear all the time. Grand Potato says, that's the chair you need, not the other one. You know what? Let me see if I can find this clip. Here's the, you guys want to buy here's a chair I can grift. Hang on. Here's a chair I can grift if I can find it in this clip. So this was at Universal. I think it was it was when we went through the Mario Kart. Here. Okay, so right here. This is the park hopping stream. So I think it's when we went. Did we go through the Mario Kart? Oh, God, that's me in the Donkey Kong hat. Somebody paid $500 for that, by the way. Maybe it's not that one. Hang on. There was a Bowser chair. What happened to Beardo? RIP Beardo. What happened to Beardo? Maybe it was this one. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So gotta find it though. All right, so this is the Mario Kart queue. There it is right there. There. Look at that chair. That's the chair I need to grift. The Bowser chair. It's freaking insane. It's so freaking cool. Look at this.
Here we have Bowser's with Princess Peach.
We let them around us. These people behind us. Watch. Stop. You guys can go. You can go.
That is super cool right there, man. So, but yeah, Epic Universe is awesome. If you guys want to watch that full vlog over there, you can. We had a lot of fun with all of that. We got like 2 or 3 streams over there that we covered it. And but the Cobra chair is the coolest chair. It is the coolest chair. No doubt about it. Let's see. All right. Oh, Johnny the WizKid says Texas just passed a law and banned anime. How is that constitutional? Am I going to jail for watching? I'd like to get Trump and Elon involved to stop this nonsense. How can this even be allowed? I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know what that. I have no idea what that's in reference to. I have a question for everyone really quick. Which picture do you prefer? The one with the G.I. Joe Burst background or the one with the blue background, which you see my avatar right now talking? Chat, I need your opinion. Do you like the burst background, burst orange, or burst blue? Burst blue background. Let's see here. Which one? This poll will determine which one becomes the profile picture. So orange background or the blue, dark blue. Blue is out to a pretty big lead right now. So, see, I thought the orange popped more personally because it's consistent with all of my other pictures, you know? Because all of my other pictures have the G.I. Joe Burst background. You know what I mean? So, right now, Burst Blue is winning 69%. 69. All right, it's 65% now. Let me see. It looks rushed. I mean, honestly, somebody could probably do a better job of it. I just threw that together on an app on my phone. So if somebody can do a better job of that, feel free to make it look better. But looks like blue is the one you guys like the most. So blue makes the silver pop. Okay, that's fair. Orange burst bad. Orange burst bad. Jake Skywalker says, I like the orange. Yeah, I think the Ask Grok. Yeah, I think I'll not. Summeriz says, I'm not trying to compliment you, but I can't help it. Hey, that's all good. You guys know I get uncomfortable with compliments, but you know, I do appreciate it. Rumble doesn't have polls. Yeah, does it? If Rumble has polls, I'll do it on Rumble. I don't think they have polls over there. Dan Vicious says the hat and needs a redo. Yeah, I'd actually wanted to do put 199 on the hat. So hat looks odd. Hey, you guys can work on it. I'm all for that. So you guys can work on it. I do like the overall look of the skull and everything. But yeah, so blue is winning. So I'm going to stop it at 500 votes. So we got 410 votes in right now. Blue is winning 62-38. So we're going to give it to 500 votes and then I'm calling it. Let's see. The good Tom King says, is Krista still acting like a discount Anna? She's not. I see Chris as being better. I don't know what you're talking about, but Krista's like the one and only Krista. There's only one Krista, and she's the most genuine person I've met in this whole online scene. She's awesome. So, yeah, there's only one Krista. So, Jeremy and his gay Cowboys logo. It's like a 5-second design. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like I just throw shit together. So, all right, we're at 450 votes. Here, I'll go back on camera though. So, but anyway, I will take your vote into consideration. And if anybody has any updates they want to make, you can just save this picture from here, my YouTube channels or whatever. I think I have this as the D-Day Cobra Gaming logo, which that channel is going to be very active. Very active. Battlefront 2, which is hitting peak levels. We're going to be playing Battlefront 2 sometime this week, so keep that in mind. We're also going to be playing Mario Kart this Wednesday, and then the Switch 2 is coming out next week, so we're going to be all systems go. And again, don't forget, we will be playing, or I'm going to be live tomorrow around noon tomorrow here for CobraCast. Then we got Tuesday night's main event. Then we might do some other stuff with gaming after main event. I'm not sure yet. All right, so Burst Blue wins big time. Big time. All right, so Eric K says, blue brings out the color in your eyes. Stop. Irish Skywalker says go blue. You guys overwhelmingly voted blue, so I'm okay with that. Please no Savvy. Well, you know that means I'm going to have Savvy on. Crazy Clown Town says Anna's discount Krista. I mean, look, they're I'm not saying there's anything wrong with either one of them, obviously, but you know, there's nothing alike though. They both have positives that, you know, that they can attribute to themselves, but in terms of Chris's, you know, she loves her theme parks and she loves Nintendo. And that's really all she cares about. She loves her theme parks and she loves Nintendo. So Taker says, do Democrats today think that Democrat Party was far right from its inception until recently? Democrats just think that Trump is bad. That's all they think. Trump bad, and that's it. And so essentially anything that Donald Trump does, they have to do the opposite. That controls the Democrats' every decision. It controls every moment. It controls everything they do. That's how it will be until Donald Trump is no more, which hopefully doesn't happen for a long time. But that is it right there. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. We're going to call it there. 2 streams today. I appreciate you guys and gals so much. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow right after Geeks and Gamers Daily for another CobraCast. And then we got Tuesday night's main event. We're going to be firing on all cylinders. Make sure you're following this account right here on Twitter, the CobraCast 199, because I do tweet out when we go live. So you'll have another notification right there in case you miss them on YouTube. Again, make sure you pay some respect to those that, you know, paid the ultimate sacrifice for us. Make sure you pay some respect to the people that are dealing with the traumas of protecting our freedom. A lot of them are in the chat here, and you probably know a lot of them in your personal lives. And again, if you see a veteran, go up, shake their hand, and tell them thank you for your service, and let them know they are appreciated. It's very, very a small gesture on our part, but it can go a long way for them. And that is the most important element of it. A small gesture from you can go a long way to these veterans who put it all on the line for us. And that is the most important thing. So thank you guys so very much. Greatly do appreciate it. Have a great evening, and we will talk to you later.
Time to rule at last. 15 years held up
Maybe because the good Tom King says, dude, Krista said she was a discount. Anna, you agreed. It was a joke in reference to Star Wars knowledge. That was like 5 years ago. I don't know why you're bringing that up. That was like a joke from 5 years ago, Tom. It's okay. Sarcasm on the internet is hard to detect sometimes, especially 5 years ago, I guess. But it was a 5 years ago the joke was said, and it was in reference to Star Wars knowledge. And the point of the conversation was to show Krista has so much self-awareness that she's willing to say, I don't know that much about this thing, so I would be the discount version of this other person that knows something about this thing. That's it. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I do appreciate it. Hope you have a good night. And again, happy Memorial Day. And make sure you pay respect to those who deserve respect. Those who fought for your freedom, my freedom, our freedom, they deserve all the respect in the world. So this is about the ones that are no longer here to get that respect, but make sure you pay them the proper respect they deserve. So thank you guys. Have a good night. We'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone. Oh, and feel better, Jessica. I hope you feel better if you're sick. Is she sick? Why do I not end the fucking stream? Is Jessica not feeling good? The hell's going on? Jessica, you're not feeling good? Oh, she says I feel fine. No, she's tired. Well, go get some rest, Jessica. Go get some rest. All right. Anyway, you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Get some rest, Jessica.